This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Coming from the 606 Media Studios, this is the TCSF podcast with Big Z. In the house, we got Stevie B from the No Water the Weekend podcast, and JC will join us shortly. Episode 233 is brought to you by 606 Media, true Chicago sports fans, and I already said 606 Media. Don't forget, you can go to 606.com, 606media.com, and hit that merch button, and you can purchase these. I actually got one in. I had to buy one at cost. So your boy's not cheap. So
that was $4.99, right?
Hell no, I want no $4.99. Find out how much it is. Go to 606media.com and go to merch, and it'll take you to our online store. It's a little different from the originals, where it was like super like it felt like it was heavy. The screening was very heavy. It was on there, it was, I don't know. It looks more vintage. It feels light compared to the other one. It was very bright, but it also felt like very heavy right here. So like your chest would be sweating in that area. So it's a give and take. Are you going to, do you want it light, or do you want it super bright and a lot of what is that called? Vinyl or whatever they put on. Here it is, but I love it. It's got the for the love of sports on the back side of it, and it's a good start. And if you want to go check out the two different lines, we have the TCSF one, and we do have for the love of sports line. So definitely
collection.
Collection. Yes, yeah. We're gonna put Stevie B on the in charge of all that. So if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, X, hit that subscribe button.
Smash the subscribe.
And if you have your favorite podcast, remember to give us a 5-star review. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. We need subscribers, so that way we can able to do some more things on here. And let's see if Serge is in. Is Serge in? Serge, all right. Is your mic working now, Serge? I don't think you can still hear us.
Yeah. He might have to come in after the show. He's having technical difficulties.
He's having technical difficulties. He has to figure that out. All right. Remember, you can support the show with the monthly subscription at anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans. Go over there and click on the support button and subscribe for as little as 99 cents a month. And if you haven't done so, you can go and subscribe to our other podcasts in the 606 Media family. You got Impodsigated with myself, Big Z, where we deep dive into the guest live stories. Each episode features engaging discussions, interviews, and fascinating guests, and a healthy dose of humor. There's 10 episodes out there right now. I just finished 3. I'm not going to tell you who they are. Not yet. They're still in the chamber getting edited, and they should be out by the end of the month. And they'll be out once a week as well. You can also check out Stevie B and Sean on the No Water on the Weekend podcast. It's a pop culture forward podcast that dabbles in funny, trivia, film, television, music, and Chicago-centric news and happenings. But
episode is live now.
Yeah.
New episode is out. So after you're done watching and listening to this, go on over to No Water on the Weekend and have a drink with us. It's Monday. It's been a hard week for sports, so just have a drink with us. Pretend we're sitting right next to you. So
you can find it on your favorite podcast app, or you just go to our hub, 606media.com, and you can find the No Water on the Weekend tab right there, or you can find the latest episode and just listen to it there. And if you want to listen to past episodes, you can go look at the entire library there. But let's get started. We are going to start off. First of all, let's talk about what we're going to have. We have the Super Bowl weekend. We got Bears adding more coaches. The Bulls finally make a trade. What do we get back? Cubs and Sox updates. And we'll finish it with the best, in my opinion, the best pay-per-view or PLE in WWE, the Royal Rumble. So we'll wrap that up. And if you guys want to chime in, definitely chime in, and then we can debate who's the best wrestler. So Super Bowl weekend, it starts. It's all media row stuff, a lot of storylines, but at the end of the day, everyone wants to get down to the nitty-gritty of the Super Bowl. JC finally got his setup together, and he's not like Serge. What's your impression of Super Bowl week, and is there anything to be excited about?
As far as I'm concerned, I am like over the Super Bowl. I'll be working anyway, so it's, is what it is. You know, I hope for the fans that, the Super Bowl can go without showing Taylor Swift 19 times throughout the game.
That's not going to happen.
But,
That's
you know, yeah, definitely. If there's a prop bet, go with the over, because they're going to be showing her like every other play. You know, it's one of those where, I hope Saquon can, and that guy has carried the Philadelphia Eagles. Would love for him to, come from the New York Giants and finally get one. I know last week we had some TikTok issues where we had some Commanders fans not happy with us.
Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up. Go ahead, JC.
So I figure, we'll discuss that at some point tonight as well. But it's one of those where I would like to see, I don't know what it is about Kansas City. Like they're the new Patriots. Yep. It's and I think a lot of it has to do with, I don't mind the team, but I'm over the Taylor Swift portion of it. Like I get you. Thank you. Show like, yeah, I get it. Like, it's like the Cubs and Bill Murray, or, like when Bill Murray shows up to, a Cubs game or a Blackhawks game or whatever. But it's one of those, like, they'll show them like once or twice and then that's it. Whereas like every other play, they're cutting away to Taylor Swift or the Kelseys and it's like, I'm over it. Like, I'm like, they have nothing to do with the game. Like, yes, I understand that she's dating Travis Kelce, but it's like, she's not on the field. She's not calling plays. She's not catching the ball. Like, what do I care?
Oh, whoa, catching balls.
PG-13, guys.
Maybe she was probably at the Pro Bowl too, catching balls, like with those giant mitts.
To me, like I said, I would love to see Saquon, get one. He has had a tremendous season. The Kansas City Chiefs, like, they do just enough to win, and that's who they are. And you know what? They're playing well enough to win another one. They very well could three-peat, but like I said, I mean, Philadelphia, I mean, the way they are running the ball, I mean, 55 points in the championship game. I mean, I would love to see them win. As much as, I think Philly fans are
they're a little crazy. They're a little crazy.
I mean, yeah, there's been articles about people getting hurt and passing away.
Yeah.
And a gun just in the middle. Yeah. I mean, I love Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but I think they actually take part of that show of craziness and literally it's part of the fans. It's literally Always Sunny, I guess, when their teams are winning.
I think, like, if you're literally following like a fellow, like an opposing team's fan for like a mile walk, just heckling them, like, come on, like,
yeah, grow up.
I mean, now again, if that person deserves it because they said something, like, I didn't see that, but like I said, yeah, it's definitely one of those, like, because I've seen that after, like, like I've gone to like a Red Sox game, I've gone to, games in other cities, and you see it where, they're chirping it. Listen, I've been chirped leaving a Bears game. All right, we've discussed that on this podcast, where I unfortunately had to wear a rival team's colors.
I remember those colors. I remember that story.
And I've been chirped myself, leaving a game, but it was all in good fun, and it was a couple chirps here and there, but it wasn't like obnoxious, constant.
Yeah, what's funny is when I go to Guarantee Rate and I'm wearing my Red Sox stuff, Noam chirps at me for two reasons. Because they got none to chirp about because their team's not that great. And then they see Big Z next to me and they're like, oh, this guy's tough. This guy's tough. I'm not messing with him.
I like how there's a backhanded comment there. Yeah, your team really sucks. We know, Steven. We know my team sucks. Steven wants to take a jab every single episode at the White Sox, and you know what? I'm here for it. Yeah. Again, no one is a fan of the Philly fans. I think you can respect the Philly team, the Eagles being there 2 out of 3 years. I agree with JC where we don't really mind the players or the team. It's more that the hoopla around Kansas City, the arrogance of some of the fans where they're like, oh, we make the conference championship every year. And yeah, well, I already bought my Super Bowl destination. I've already booked the hotel before, as soon as the city starts, the season starts. So it's that kind of stuff where now we are on the outside looking in, right? Everyone hated Chicago for the first three-peat and the second three-peat. And, we see it all the time. We were complaining about it on this show where Mahomes is getting these BS calls. Well, so was Jordan, right? We just loved it because it was on our side. We were getting the calls, and it was cool. Like we're like, oh yeah, we didn't get fouled, but it's Jordan, and it's Mahomes, the Mahomes effect and the Brady effect as well. They want to protect, what is the face of the NFL, and it's the quarterbacks that produce lots of points and are always in the playoffs, and those are the two quarterbacks that did that. So you're going to have that kind of reaction from people who are not fans of that team, or if he beats your team year after year. So right now, the Bears, we're in year 2 of a rebuild, and I'm saying it from this point on because this is Caleb's second year. I don't have a horse in the race. I want to see a great game, and I want to win a lot of money. That's all I care
have
about.
A lot of good food.
Yes, lots of good food. Steven, you're cheering for Philadelphia then, right?
Right, I am. I'm excited for the game. Again, I want the same thing, high scoring, to the end. Philly wins with a field goal or maybe a touchdown pass, or Saquon scores it in for, the game-winning touchdown. But I'm excited for the commercials, man. There's some pretty good ones in line. I'm not going to lie. There's one tomorrow that's going to be big news, and I'm going to tweet about or X about it, or I don't know where to post it because, everything in this world is crazy. Do you use an app? But anyway, Fantastic Four trailer comes out tomorrow, and they're going to have another one on the Super Bowl and possibly another one for the Thunderbolts. So if you're into that pop culture and you like those movies, that's what I'm going to be on the lookout for. So I'm also debating if I'm going to go to a bar because I want to hear it and see it and tell everyone, shut up.
Just record the game. Also, they post. There's a website that has like
I know. I'll have to run to the bathroom and put my headphones on and like, what is happening? But yeah, I'm excited for that. I don't know what I'm going to do. I know there's a couple places by me are doing all you can eat for $50. From
that's not bad.
$50 from 4 to 8 or until the game's over.
All right, we'll talk off air about that because we don't want to plug anybody. That's not a sponsor.
No, I'm not going to say the name, but yes. But food, camaraderie, watching the game. I mean, I'm pretty excited. I didn't really care about the Pro Bowl at all. Didn't watch it. Like I said, I wasn't going to watch it, and it's whatever. So,
yeah, definitely did not watch the Pro Bowl. Nothing that's exciting at the Pro Bowl for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't even know if Taylor Swift was there, right?
Behind the scenes,
just pulling the strings.
Exactly.
What is your go-to food? Let's say you're hosting, right? So I'll give you two options. One, if you're hosting, and two, if you're at a bar. What are your go-to foods for your Super Bowl? Start off with JC.
With my family, it tends to be like Italian beef sandwiches. We'll usually just pick up a couple pounds of beef, throw it on the stove and, get some loaves of bread and, and then obviously, chips, guac, some dips. But we don't tend to go too crazy, when with the Super Bowl.
Hot peppers or sweet peppers?
Jardiniere.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm a hot Jardiniere guy.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Now, I think I'd probably be able to max out with like 2 beefs and then in an hour maybe have another 2. But I'm usually a party sub. I like a good old party sub.
Mr. Submarine, are you doing? Oh, that's not done.
I want it's two names. It's Yeah, I'm going to say it's two names. It's not that far from here. It's a conglomerate. It's not like SW or anything, or JJ, anything like that. But party sub, again, some chips, some Malort, some seltzers. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I could do all that by myself, but that party sub's going to take me forever to eat if I don't go. But if I go to a bar, probably hot wings. Or maybe a burger. But I can't. I'm thinking about beefs now. JC's got me hungry.
Yeah, definitely got the palate going.
Big Z, what about you?
Yeah, definitely. If it's at home, I do want to have like different types of food. I think chili is a staple, because it is chili season. Where who makes the best chili and everybody brings their own chili. I kind of like that if you're doing it at home. That's
cool,
right? So get different variations of everyone's chili. Let's see what else you can add to that. I mean, there's so much. Anything that's homemade, I think, would be great. So if you're bringing a foot-long sub, or if you are bringing like ceviche or guacamole that you're making, as long as it's a potluck and everyone brings in good food, I'm all for that. The more food, the merrier, because you're going to be eating nonstop that day. You might be drinking your favorite beverage as well. And if I'm at a bar, just like Steven, I got to have me some wings. I'll probably have, scarf down 20 wings that day. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, you got to soak up that alcohol. Because where you go, one bucket's down, another one magically comes up.
I don't know what happened. It just disappeared.
It disappeared, but then they keep coming. It's like hocus pocus.
It's a full service bar, sir. That's all I got to say about this place.
They take care of you, that's for sure, and I've witnessed it.
Yeah,
like another one, another bucket. Yeah, God,
gotta work on getting them to sponsor us. Let's come up with predictions for the Super Bowl before we move on to more pressing news in Chicago. JC, score.
Ooh, let's go like 34-27. Eagles.
Oh, okay, Eagles. All right, Steve B.
I was gonna say 32-27. Eagles, but yeah.
I'm hoping for a high scoring game, but I see two defensive coordinators going ham, and I see a 17-19 win for Kansas City, because the refs are the 12th player on the field.
That's true. I don't know. I just hope fly Eagles fly. Like the Angels. What was the Angels one?
Angels in the outfield.
I know, but what was their thing? Would they do this like the Eagles?
Yeah, they would flap their arms like an angel's wing.
Oh man, yeah.
Clip that. There you go. There's content. So if you don't follow us on TikTok, be sure to see that clip again. Maybe save it, repost it.
Those TikTok trolls. I mean, I was trying to kill them with kindness for a little bit, and I'm like, hey man. If you want to compare numbers between Caleb and your quarterback, we can do that. You're going to lose that battle. If you want to approach it with an emotional argument, then I'm not here for that. If you want to talk facts, let's do it. And it's like, it was like talking to the wall back and forth. And I'm like, look, man, if you like it so much, keep watching us. Thank you. Continue to watch us. Thank you for showing up and writing some comments on the TikTok. I appreciate it. You know what? If you're doing something right, you're always going to have haters, and apparently we're doing a lot right to have haters all the way around the country. So go ahead.
They hate us because they ain't us.
That's right. They hate us because they ain't us.
They hate us because they ain't us.
Well, so first off, I don't have a TikTok, so I couldn't see what the comments were saying.
I just sent it to you. That's right.
Yeah. So someone sent me what their comments were, because basically, like we were saying, like Washington was not supposed to be in the position they were in. Which, let's be honest, like as a Washington fan, admit to yourself, you were a team that was in like last place in your division last year, and now you went almost to the conference championships. Like,
they're the Texans of last year. They're the Texans of last year. They got their quarterback. They overachieved. You should not have been there, but no one's hating that you got there. We're just stating the facts. You overachieved and then got exposed when you had to deal with a real team playing in the conference. That's exactly what happened. The Eagles are the real deal, and that's why they're there.
Yeah. I mean, listen, like Jaden Daniels is a fantastic quarterback. He played very well this year. To me, if Washington gets him a second wide receiver, because let's be honest, Terry McLaurin is the only receiver he's got other than Ertz, which Ertz is so far up there in age. You know, I know Ertz says he wants to continue playing with Washington, that he feels that they really built something in Washington with Jaden Daniels. But let's be honest, Zacharias and Diami Brown and whoever else they have on their depth chart, they are not wide receivers twos. So to me, like Washington, Brian Robinson played very well. They traded or got was Austin Eckler in the offseason, I believe, or one of those running backs, but they never used them. It was the Brian Robinson show, which, you know, Austin Eckler, I believe, might have gotten hurt, you know, at some point in the season, especially towards the end of the season. But again, it was one of those, like, even at the beginning of the season, it was the Brian Robinson show. They really didn't use him. So what was the point in signing him? I don't know. Other than that, like I said, I mean, for the people who talk trash on TikTok, hey, look, all we were trying to say as a podcast is that you guys overachieved. Yes, you're a good team. You're an up and coming team, and you're going to be probably good for the next however many years with Jaden Daniels. But just like the Bears, you know, you got some room to grow still. You know, you got some positions of need that need to be filled, just like the Bears do. And like I said, we'll see how it washes out in the end. But I don't think any of us were trying to trash, you know, the Commanders and say they're a bad team. It's just we were stating the fact that, you know, we think you guys overperformed, you know, and definitely outdid expectations.
They were playing with house money. It's simple as that. They were playing with house money. So it is what it is. Let's transition over to what's important to us, the Chicago Bears. And they added more coaches. JC, they added one of the hottest coordinators in the past 5 years who never seemed to get a head coaching job in the NFL. Is Eric Bieniemy is now the running backs coach for the Chicago Bears. What's your impression of that?
I mean, Eric Bieniemy got the chance at a coordinator job somewhere else to prove that, you know, he wasn't just a disciple of Andy Reid and a Matt Nagy rewash. He got the chance to go somewhere else to be the OC. Didn't work out. The whole coaching staff got fired. He decided to go to the college ranks, you know, try and resurrect his career there. Now he's being brought into Chicago as a running backs coach, which he's done before. But I don't know that he's what everyone thought he was with the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, again, Andy Reid is the mastermind of that team. Everybody underneath him, they do their job, but when it comes down to it, without Andy Reid, a lot of these coordinators are not as good as some of the guys that come out of the Shanahan, the McVay kind of coaching trees.
I think this is up to date. Offensive coaches, we got assistant head coach and wide receivers coach Antoine Rondelel, offensive coordinator Declan Doyle, passing game coordinator Press Taylor. What a name, Press Taylor. Running game coordinator, I guess that would be Eric Bieniemy, right? Because he's a running back coach.
I would assume so, but you know, there's so many different qualifications.
Yeah. Quarterbacks coach JT Barrett, and then I don't have a tight ends or an offensive line coach. I think they did have an offensive line coach, right?
We did sign an offensive line coach either today or yesterday. And it was from the college ranks, I believe.
You can pull that up. Why go through the rest of the coaches?
He was a former Saints line coach who did very well. Let me see if I can look it up. Because he coached quite a few guys. I'm trying to look it up. Sorry.
So he was with Declan Doyle then out there?
He was with when he was with the Saints, he ended up coaching Ramczyk. And I'm scrolling back through. Here we go. So Dan Rochar is the O-line coach, and I may have pronounced his last name improperly, but he was with the Saints from 2016 to 2022 or 2020. He helped develop offensive guard Larry Warford, 3-time Pro Bowler, offensive guard Andrus Peat, 3-time Pro Bowler, center Max Unger, 1-time Pro Bowler, offensive tackle Teron Armstead, 3-time Pro Bowler and 1-time All-Pro, and offensive tackle Ryan Ramczyk, 3-time All-Time Pro.
So we got definitely a guy who's cut his teeth in the league and has been doing a really good job of developing an offensive line. So far, so good for BJ, Benjohnson, doing his homework and getting guys from all over the league who are really good. Your defensive coordinator is Dennis Allen, defensive line coach Bill Johnson. I don't have a linebackers coach, and then you have a defensive back and defensive passing game coordinator Al Harris. And when obviously we kept Richard Hightower as special coordinator, special teams coordinator. So far it's good, but there's also rumors of Benjohnson that already started accumulating or making phone calls or texting or having conversations at some point with a lot of these people prior to getting the Bears job. Do you believe that's the case?
You're talking with the coordinators and who he wants to put together? Oh, I'm sure. And any time that you are considered the top, head coaching prospect, and top, head coach person of interest, of course, you're going to start contacting people and trying to put a team, especially when you have Benjohnson knew, especially after last year where he didn't take a head coaching job. He knew this year, look, this is it. It's time. I'm going to take a head coaching job somewhere. You start to put a team together, or you start feeling out people of, hey, would you be interested? I'd love to have you as my offensive coordinator. What are your thoughts? Would you join my team? If I get the position, et cetera. And like I said, I don't know that he said to the people, hey, this is where I'm going. I don't think he knew where he was going yet. But yes, you're going to start putting a team together, because a lot of times when they go into interviews, the team that is interviewing you is going to ask, hey, who are you thinking about as your offensive coordinator? Hey, who are you planning on bringing with, or who are you interested in? Are you interested in any of the guys we have on the team? Like I said, Thomas Brown, or, any of those guys that we were working with here. Or, like I said, they have to put a team together. So, of course, they're going to start talking to somebody.
Steven, now, there's been times you're big on looking at rumors and what's going on, right? And you send me stuff here and there. I mean, you did kind of hey, what's going on with the Jordan thing? And I was like, oh, that's got to be fake. And sure enough, it's a whole marketing plan by Nike and Jordan. But, I mean, if this is true, do you think the NFL should be punishing coaches for, I guess it would be considered tampering?
Yeah, I think it's different than the NBA or getting players, because it's coaches. But I mean, I think it's okay to talk and assemble like the Avengers, pretty much. You're not saying, okay, if this happens, we'll need you to come together and are you going to be part of this team? I think that's the same thing when you're running for office or anything like that. You already know who you want to interview and who you think is going to work well with you. I think honestly it's okay. I think when it comes to players, it's a little different, because you're building talent. I think coaching, I don't know, it's trying to get the best available people, but also, let them know hey, like JC said, I'm available. I'm considering you. If I get this head coaching job, would you want to come work with me? And build that connection and then go from there.
Yeah, I agree with you, Steven. I think it's okay to do, especially because they're not moving laterally; they're moving up a position,
right?
Or two, right? So you're getting, you're getting boosted up. You're getting.
The NFL has rules about teams have to give permission for teams to talk to offensive coordinators and all that stuff. And I think the Bears were interested in somebody like Mike McCarthy, and the Cowboys said, no, we're not going to give you permission
because he was still on the contract.
Correct. So there are those instances where, but again, like, you know, if it's a step up, then yes, the team can talk to anybody. But if it's like a lateral move, they can be denied. But like I don't think there's not a whole lot of tampering stuff when it comes to coaching. It's more like free agents and stuff like that, where it's players and even you know, I think, didn't the NFL in the offseason last year, they changed when you could actually talk to like coordinators, like if it was before the Super Bowl, or there was talks that they were going to change it to after the Super Bowl.
They limited the amount of exposure. So if your team is still in the playoffs, you know, after the season's over, there's a limited time of I think it's like 4 or 5 hours that they're limited to to talk to them, and that's it. That's the amount of time you get. Do what you can with that time. If not, you have to wait till the season's over. Then it's, you know, it's kind of a more of a free game. So yeah, I mean, I think that's okay because they have way more pressing things to you know, attend to at the moment. So
I will say this really fast about rumors too. Myles Garrett was brought up maybe to come to Chicago. I think I know he wants to win, and he wants to win now. Chicago has potential.
It'd be Khalil Mack all over again. You would have to give up so many first, and then future this, future that, and then you have to sign him because right now his last 2 years are non-guaranteed, and that's probably what it is. He's also not getting paid like Nick Bosa, and that's probably he wants to be the highest paid player at the position. So I mean, it's a luxury to have, but I just think right now the Bears should go after fixing the O-line.
Right.
If that money and that player is still available, okay, cool. But I still don't see the Bears in a position to give up draft capital that's going to continue to improve their team while Caleb's on a rookie deal. If your team is full, if you drafted everybody that you wanted, you got your offensive line, this is that, and you're like, oh, we're just missing a rusher. That's all we need to get over their hump. All for it. Let's go for it. But I just don't feel the Bears are in that position right now to be giving up that draft capital and cap space, right? All that money to that one player. The offensive line is going to be expensive, and as it should be, right? It's going to protect Caleb, and that's what you want to do. Protect the asset during that rookie contract, so that way you can win. So I don't know, JC.
Before JC goes, I'm gonna pop off. My buddy's in town, so I'm gonna head out now. I want to just break that down really quick, and I'm glad you came in, JC, because if you weren't here, then Big Z would have to do it by himself, and he's done that before. But it's just sad. Like, he's upset, he misses us, and you know. But all right, I'll catch you guys later.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
All right,
but all right, guys, I will catch you guys later.
Right.
Just wanted to jump on and say hi, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right, CB.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Go ahead, JC.
All right. So actually, I did a quick little poll in my group chat with my group chat friends, and basically threw it out there prior to me coming on the podcast. And asked, you know, it's a group of like 12 of us, and I basically said, you know, as Bears fans, would you potentially trade the 110 for Myles Garrett, knowing that he's 29 years old and you would have to pay him, and essentially he would have to be paid, you know, I don't know what the going rate of the defensive ends now are, but I assume it's pretty close to 30 million, if not more, you know, 30 to 35 million. So if you figure you have to pay him 35 million, we have a cap space of 65, that would leave us 30 million in space for draft picks. You know, we still have second round draft pick. We still have, you know, et cetera, that we have to then sign the rookies. Plus, you know, we were looking at Trey Smith from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
Plus, we have to fill all those holes of the free agents that we lose. So all those depth pieces, all those guys on the special teams, you know, everything like that.
Yeah.
You would have to do it on a much lower salary cap. So to me personally, I would think, you know, at 10, you would look at a 21 to 22-year-old pass rusher at 110. So, you sign, say, a Trey Smith from Kansas City. You sign a Ryan Kelly, the center. I believe he's from Indianapolis. So if you get those two guys, Trey Smith and Ryan Kelly, you sign those two guys in the offseason on free agent contracts, then you turn around and you draft at 110. Abdul Carter is the top edge guy in the class. They're already saying he might get picked by Cleveland at 2 to replace Myles Garrett, who just asked to leave. So you'd be looking at the number 2 edge rusher, who I actually threw it out there. There's a gentleman named Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M, I believe it is. He, after the Senior Bowl, has gone from a late first pick all the way up to a top 10 now in most mock drafts. Wow. The gentleman, he is, I believe, 6'3" or 6'5". I don't remember the exact height, but he is that prototypical size that the Bears love, where it's like 6'5", 280 pounds, and he sets the edge very well. So if you go watch his film, I actually sent that film to my buddies in the group chat and said, like, dude, you got to look at this guy. This guy is usually the prototypical like defensive end that 4-3 scheme loves, where they got the size and length, and that body type of just like a massive 280, 6'5".
Would that be like a Julius Peppers?
Yeah, basically, like same thing, like a sweat Julius Peppers, like a tall, long-armed, like I said, you get in those 3-4 schemes where like you get some of these like guys that weigh like 240 pounds rushing off the edge, the old Clay Matthews or AJ Hogg, or some of the TJ Watts, where they're not they're those short, smaller, compact, high motor guys. And then like I said, then you have the guys like Julius Peppers, where they're just longer freak athletes that just have a body type that are just going to run you over, bulldoze you, and abuse you. So Shamar Stewart is one of those guys you can look at. Mike Green is another edge guy that is being connected to us as well. So it's one of those, a lot of the free agent or the draft stuff right now still has us going, with Will Campbell or one of the offensive tackles in this draft. But like I said, if we can sign 2 veterans, like I said, like Ryan Kelly and Trey Smith, that would then solidify the line, use potentially most of that $65 million cap space. And then, like I said, you bring in a young, hungry pass rusher that, instead of paying Myles Garrett, who's 29, you get a guy that's 21 or 22
on a rookie contract.
Because we all know who gets paid in the NFL, right? Left tackles, edge rushers, your top defensive tackles get paid. And then it's basically your cornerbacks and your wide receivers. So right now, yeah, we're blessed that we have Caleb Williams on the rookie contract, but it's one of those where we kind of have to decide where we want to go. And frankly, I think Trey Smith and getting a veteran center in like a Ryan Kelly would really benefit us, long term, with the O-line.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens after, when free agency starts. Are they going to be that aggressive to sign the shore up the line with the center, and who will they draft? Right? There's rumors out there that Benjohnson is probably looking at the running back from Iowa.
Yeah, I believe I sent that to you.
Yeah. So if you solidify everything, then yeah, sure. But I still think you literally, offensive, defensive line is your priority, and you continue to draft because those big guys get hurt, or sometimes they don't pan out, as we've seen on our offensive line. So definitely, I would say continue to draft there. You still need a slot receiver. Yes, you can get another running back, but you also we didn't use Roshan Johnson at all. You know, what do you like?
Yeah, that's the one thing that gets me is like, you know, I've had friends be like, oh, we should get Ashton Genty. And it's like at the 110, you're like, I get it. Like, he is an amazing running back and he has made great running plays behind a bad Boise offensive line. But to me, like, the running back, especially this year, you know, there are analysts saying that there are 30 draftable running backs coming out this year. And like normally it's like 10 to 15.
Yeah, so you can get one in the late rounds.
Right. So to me, like in that second round or in the third round, like I said, you know, because the thing I sent you in the group chat is Benjohnson wants his David Montgomery.
Yep.
You know, he wants that bigger pounding back. You know, like Swift is great. You know, he's a home run hitter. He's a pass catching back. But when you get on those first, you know, the within 4 yards of, you know, goal line, you want a bigger bruising back, which to me, like, I think Roshan is underutilized, underused. But, you know, if Benjohnson wants his running back, hey, look, we're paying Benjohnson 5 years, $65 million. Give him the running back he wants. But I don't think you do that at the 110.
No, I agree with you. Not the 110. I think that's in the later rounds. With especially, you said there's about 30 guys that can be drafted, and you know, it's just not a priority. This is what they did last year: is they got all the shiny stuff before getting the car. You got all the accessories.
Yeah, especially getting the car. Gianti is the only running back that's slated in the first round. So why would I reach on Gianti when I have 2 picks right there at the start of the second round where I could take the second best running back or the third best or, you know, whatever, you know, or how about this? Take one of those second rounds, trade back, and then you can still get the running back you want.
Right.
It's one of those to me where there's so much mobility within the draft that the Bears can have. And you know, like I said, it's one of those where we'll see where we go. You know, I do think, you know, like I said, if you have Braxton Jones, you get Will Campbell at 10 to be your left guard. You sign a Ryan Kelly at center. You sign Trey Smith as your right guard. And then you have Darnell Wright as your right tackle. Like, what are we talking about? There you go. There is your built offensive line. So, you know, Ryan Kelly is, I forget his age, but it's one of those where he is a veteran center with, you know, and that's kind of what you want to do. You want to pair a veteran center with a rookie quarterback, or a young quarterback. You know, Caleb won't be a rookie next year, but he's still young. He's still learning. And guys like Ryan can still help him with, you know, hey, we need to shift here, or we need to, right. Ryan Kelly. Sorry, I'm trying to look up how old is he? How old he is? Ryan Kelly age. He's 31. So even if you sign him to a 3-year deal, which is really a 2-year, and then you have an out for the third, you know, you can cut him and have a little dead cap space. But, you know, even if you sign him to a 3-year deal, which is really a 2, you know, to me, to solidify the offensive line, I would love that.
Yeah, again, as much as we're excited for the Super Bowl, I think we're more in Chicago excited for the offseason, what it may bring, and what this new administration, the coaching, is going to do with polls in drafting and signing players. So definitely on the watch. We'll post everything on the True Chicago Sports Fans Facebook page. So get your news there. We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back with the Chicago Bulls finally making a trade, trading Zach LaVine away. And we'll talk about what did we get back and what is wrong with the Bulls. And then we'll wrap it up with, I don't think there's anything going on with the Cubs and Sox. There'll be some minor league moves, and then we'll finish up with the Rumble. So We'll be right back. We're going to take a short break, and don't go anywhere.
Hey there, Chicago enthusiasts. Are you ready to take your fandom to the next level? The True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast has got you covered with some serious cool merch that screams Chicago pride. From cozy sweaters to trendy tank tops, we got it all. Show off your love for the city with our iconic red, white, and blue logo, or stand out with our exclusive collection for the love of sports. Whether you're lounging at home, breaking a sweat at the gym, or cheering on your team at a game, our gear is a must-have for all you diehard Chicago sports fans out there. Don't hesitate. Visit bonfire.com/store/606-media-store/. Or simply just click the link in the description and snag your gear ASAP. Get ready to make some noise, show your pride, and embrace the Chicago spirit with True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast merch. Designed for you, the ultimate fan, for the love of sports.
All right. Thank you to Stevie B for doing a little bit of voiceover work this week and making that commercial. And it's Stevie B is doing this thing and he's helping out a lot now. He's got the time. But if you want to look at that merch, go over to 606media.com. It's an easy way to do that. Just go to 606media.com. Go over there, and on the front of the page, there is a merch button. Just click on the merch button. It'll take you straight there. I am actually wearing one of the shirts, and it gets, we were talking about at the beginning of the show, it's a little lighter on the silk spring printing than the shirts that we used to have. It kind of felt heavy, and it wasn't like breathable. It's like a big
So as a silk screener, I could tell you that especially when you do stuff like what you're wearing, you have to do multiple coats of white usually to get that full opacity. So it gets pretty heavy when you do like 3 coats of white to make sure it's fully covered, no black is showing through the white or anything like that. So I could tell you it'll get pretty heavy.
Yeah, this is a little lighter. It kind of makes it look vintage, which I do kind of like. So, again, I'll continue to design, and so will JC, and we'll have new merch out there very soon. But the Bulls finally got off of sitting down in with their thumbs up there. You know who? Finally make a trade. It's a 3-team trade, and they got rid of Zach because that's pretty much what they did because they didn't get much back. Do we have the trade here?
And personally, I think that it's time for AK and our general manager to go.
Mark Eversley, yeah.
Sad. I mean, how is it that the Sacramento, or is it the Kings or the Spurs? One of them got like 3 firsts, 2 seconds, whatever, and we're sitting here, we got nothing.
We didn't get we got our own draft pick sent back to us. How? I don't understand. It's like how do I say this? It's like the kid who throws a tantrum and destroys his room, and then you're gonna give him a reward for cleaning up his own mess, because this is a mess that they started 3 years ago by trading that draft pick away in the trade to get. I think was it the trade to get DeMar? It might have been the trade. Yeah, because we traded for San Antonio. Yep. So in that trade, it's a full trade. De'Aaron Fox, Jordan McCollum is going to the Spurs. The Kings are getting Zach LaVine, City Sissoko, 3 first-round picks, 2025 from Charlotte, 2027 from San Antonio. I'm sorry, 2031 from Minnesota. 3 second-round picks, Chicago's second-round pick, Denver's 2028 second-round pick, and their own pick back for 2028. And the Bulls are just getting Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and their own first-round pick from San Antonio. I mean, is it me, or did we just get fleeced?
We're selling players for the Coke machine. Like, it's ridiculous. I mean, we're not getting value back and we've either given too much away for a player like DeMar or LaVine or whoever, Vooch, but we've never received compensation when we sell. So we give too much away when we buy and we get nothing back when we sell. And to me, that is
Like, how do you keep your job?
Yeah.
How do you keep your job? You did nothing for 3 years, and then when you do trade, you do it completely wrong. You know, the Vooch trade.
We got nothing for Caruso.
What did we get? We get Giddey.
But do you understand what I'm saying? Like it's one of those where it's like it should have been multiple firsts, or like yeah, Giddey, great, but at the same time, like I've talked about this, that we should be getting first and drafting like point guards rather than, and you know what, like I said, I just don't know what to say. It's a mess.
It's a mess, and again, they started this mess, they didn't clean up. Like the Vooch trade, you give away 2 first-round picks and trade Daniel Gafford, who is a stud now. He's a big man stud. He's been killing it now in Dallas. He was doing very well in Orlando, and they were rebuilding. They traded away Vooch because they needed to rebuild, and Vooch is a great piece for us. Like last game, he had a triple-double, obviously because no one else can score, and it's like the Bulls need to stop playing like the Golden State Warriors. You're not equipped to do that. You're not a 3-point shooting team, even though they're trying their butts off to do that. Just play Bulls basketball, fundamental basketball. Use Vooch in the post. He can get you 30, 10, and 6 every single night if you use him correctly. But they don't. They want to run up and down, and guess what? You're going to end up in the middle of the pack, right? So now they got Daniel Gafford. I think who did they get? I can't remember the player that they drafted, but he's an all-star. What is his name? I was going to say Fred Hoiberg, but that's the coach. Anyways, so you also trade Caruso, which you could have traded a year, during the deadline prior and got way more back, or even in the offseason. Oh, yeah. And they got nothing. I think the Lakers wanted to give you a king's ransom for him. And I'm pretty sure there was other teams as well. And you've got nothing. No,
we didn't sell because they wanted to try and make the playoffs, which they weren't going to. It was this stupid. We discussed this when this all was happening, and we said, like, look, we like Caruso, we like the effort he gives, but he's the man of glass. Like we discussed this so many times, where it's like, take what you can get and get the most out of him. He should have been traded at that deadline. Rather, we trade him in the offseason and we got nothing for him. Nothing, but not what we should have.
And the same thing with DeMar. We've got nothing for DeMar.
Yeah, literally. DeMar walked.
Yeah. You could have traded him. No. And now we have until Thursday to fix our lineup. We have, I think, 2 extra players on our spot on our roster, and you can only carry 12, I believe. 12 or 15. But now you gotta either release guys or trade 2 guys. You got the Chicago Bulls of the West Coast with DeMar and Zach over now playing in Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox is going to a great situation with Pop in the Spurs and playing with Wemby, the alien. I mean, and they got Chris Paul over there, and they got some good pieces to build. I think everyone won something but us. And it's like everyone's robbing the bank, and we're getting left with the bags, empty bags, and getting blamed for everything.
Yeah, and like that's why I'm waiting to see, like, okay, because the rumor is the Bulls are not done yet, right?
Right.
So that means Vooch. That means, are we going to trade Paul? Are we going to? No,
please.
Because nobody's going to take that contract. We're going to have to pay someone first to take that contract.
Yeah,
like that's how bad our GM and AKR are, that we literally are going to have to trade 2 firsts to get rid of a guy.
Yeah. Like, so right now,
here's that first that we got, and Paul, but please try and take his $20 million salary when he never deserved it in the first place.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah. So you're starting 5.
Start from scratch.
Yes, exactly.
New whole front office, because it's horrible.
It's mismanagement, and it's like, okay, at this point, you have to look within. The White Sox have been a dumpster fire. Now the Bulls are doing the same thing, just in a different way. It's still a dumpster fire. Your starting five: Lonzo Ball, Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Patrick Williams, Nikolai Vucevic. Okay, if you can,
if they trade Vooch, then what? You're going to go
you
with
trade
Buzelis?
Vooch. You trade, Buzelis in there. You trade Vooch and you trade Lonzo Ball. Get what you can right now.
Who's going to want Lonzo?
A contender.
Lonzo's still kind of a shell of himself. I mean, maybe he's worth something, but what, like a second? Or we're going to get some scrub off a team that it's like might as well hold the bag.
Yeah, I can see that help all the rest of the point guards develop and the young guys. But we already have, point guards with, we got Kobe White, we got Ayo Dosunmu. There's even talks of Kobe White being traded. And, if he goes, let's say he goes to the Lakers or Golden State
I would trade Ayo. I would trade. I like Kobe, but at the same time, he's streaky. Like he'll have great games, like consistently in a row. Then he'll go missing for a month.
Well, the thing is, this season, Zach was back. Zach was healthy. Zach's the ball hog, right?
Yep.
When Zach was out last season, who emerged? He paid right because Kobe has to play with the ball in his hand. So with Zach out of the way, and I've always said this, that Kobe and Zach are very similar, if not the same player. Kobe should see a huge improvement in his game going down the stretch. The problem is you want a tank. So you've got to trade some of these players. Hey, Lonzo, I think you're hurt again. I think you should take a vacation. Boom. See you later. Vucevic, hey, Golden State's calling. We'll send you over to a playoff team or potential playoff team, or send them somewhere where you can get the best package. Patrick Williams, if you can send them somewhere, great, but I don't think anybody's going to take him. So we're going to be stuck with Patrick Williams, Josh Giddey, Kobe White. And, if you put Ayo up there as well, I think that's fine. I think Ayo can be a tradable piece. I would like to see him develop. Buzelis is doing great. Duarte, I think you might have been released today. Right before we started. Zach Collins, I don't know. Like some of these guys that we got back, we don't know what they were because they were buried at the end of the bench for San Antonio. And I equate San Antonio to New England with Belichick. If Belichick is not playing you or gets rid of you, why would you take them? Why would you take the broken toys? If the mastermind doesn't know what to do with them, doesn't want them, you shouldn't want them either. Like Belichick was great about that, getting rid of players the year before they just disintegrated.
I just look at, the one team got 3 firsts and 2 seconds, and it's like, and the Bulls walk away with 3 guys I've really never even heard of, and a first. Like you can keep your 3 guys. Like, can I get another first?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care if it's 3 years from now,
right. Exactly. DeMar, Alex, and Zach, all gone. Not one first-round draft pick for those guys. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. It just doesn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this front office doesn't know what they're doing.
No. At the end of the season, you fire both of those guys.
Yeah, it is like negligible that these guys cannot get the compensation. Like, I understand, like, okay, Zach, it's a question of, is he an alpha or is he a beta player on a team? But still,
he's a third option, second at best.
But a second or third option in the NBA should be worth a first, even if that first is 3 years from now.
Rudy Gobert, I think it was like 3 first for Rudy Gobert. I'm like, how? Then in that case, then Vooch should get 4 first, because Vooch is a double machine, and if you use him right, he could be a triple-double machine as well. He can be your Nikolai what's his name? He can be the Joker.
I feel like the Bulls,
not to that extent, but just skill set.
The Bulls are that like they're like that person in your fantasy league that like doesn't know what they're doing, and you just go, "Hey man, I'll throw you a 3rd round for, Jamar Chase," like, and they accept. Like, they're that person in the league. Like, it's I don't know what the Bulls are anymore. And it's one of those where it's like don't get me wrong, like I understand like teams may not be willing to pay for Vooch or Zach or whatever, but you're telling me a guy that 3 years ago was averaging 30 points a game in Zach is now not worth a first round pick?
Just that makes no sense. And you still have time.
Vooch is putting up triple doubles and we can't get a first round pick for him. What? What?
Not one. 2030. I'll take a 2030, 2031, 2032. I'll take those first round draft picks at that point. Again, we need to blow this up, and it's like the city of rebuilds, because every team is rebuilding at the moment, and it's just bad.
Don't throw me your trash that's at the end of your bench. I don't want it. Give me the picks. Like,
you have
that's where the Bulls are.
Yeah, the reason you want to get picks because no one wants to sign here. No one wants to sign here.
No, but that's the thing is if all these guys are on expiring contracts, and then like, hey, I have the cap space for 3 max contracts, or like the Miami Heat did with Wade and Bosch and LeBron. Like if the Bulls can do that and be like, hey, come to us because we can put together a super team of whoever it is, like, yeah, but that's where we need to get to. It's either we need to have the cap space to sign 3 max contracts and bring in some amazing players, or we need the draft capital. One of the two. And that's where I don't think that the Bulls are failing, because they're taking on guys from the end of the bench who probably have 2-3 year contracts that are, horrible contracts. And I think we need a new front office at this point, because it's just sad. Like, I don't have the confidence in this front office to, like, again, the Caruso, they fumbled the ball, and then you watch this whole Zach trade, they fumbled the ball again. Now I'm going to watch them fumble Vooch and not get the compensation for him either. So it's like, who can we get compensation for? You're telling me like Kobe, like what's his value?
It doesn't matter, because like you said, they're gonna be like, hey, we'll give you this half-eaten bag of candy for Kobe. Okay, they'll fumble it. So you know what? Yeah. It's bad. It's like, do we want them to make a move for the sake of making moves, or you wait till the end of the season, and you fire this front office and say, we do not trust you because of the moves you made at the beginning when you're aggressive and then sat on your thumb in the where for 3 years, not making a move, not one move.
I would fire the front office today, because if they sell Vooch, then who do you have? You got nothing.
I mean, I do know that I believe Paxson is still there in some capacity. He's like above them. He's like collecting a check for doing nothing. He can come down from the ivory tower and take over his old job in the meantime for the rest of the season, and then he can be in charge of hiring the next GM or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know what you can't trust this brain trust for the rebuilding of the Chicago Bulls, and it being the Chicago Bulls who sell out their stadium for a trash team to get blown out at home. There's no effort.
Well, I'll tell you this: if they trade Vooch, they will be the Blackhawks. People are still going to show up, but it's not going to be a sold out house. Like, people will still show up.
The only way it's gonna change is you stop going to the games.
Yeah, like when they have half filled house, because like people are still going to take their kids. It's still going to be an interesting date night. Take your girl out to a game. Whatever. But again, like it's one of those where the diehard fans, like, we got to say enough's enough. It's too much for me. It's from going from the years where we had the baby Bulls and Jordan years to just like, we are the third biggest market behind like LA and New York. And you're telling me we can't get any free agents to want to come here and play?
Nope.
Like, and I know everyone says, oh, it's the Michael Jordan effect. Nobody wants to play in Chicago because they'll never live up to enough. That was 20 years ago already.
Yeah. Yep.
I understand, like, yes, there's a lore, there's a thing behind, Michael Jordan, but you know what? LA's got high taxes. I understand, like, Miami and, the heat and all that, like there's low taxes and whatever. So a lot of people want to go play in Miami, plus you got good weather year round. You got good city life in Miami and everything else. LA's beautiful weather year round. But I mean, the Bulls are one of those franchises because of Michael Jordan that is known worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to Japan, you can go to Russia, you can go anywhere, and people know the Chicago Bulls. I mean, don't get me wrong, they know the LA Lakers too because of Magic and all those guys. But it's one of those where you literally sit there and go, why does nobody ever want to come play in Chicago? We had Derrick Rose. We had,
you drafted Derrick Rose. You got lucky and had like 1% to draft Derrick Rose, and you got Derrick Rose. And that's pretty much what I think that needs to happen going forward. You go tell the commissioner, hey, I rented a hotel room for you on Mag Mile, and he shows up and there's a big suitcase with a lot of money. Because we need that envelope for Cooper Flag. You need to get the number 1 pick to resuscitate this organization.
Well, I don't think we have a chance.
No, I don't think so either. But there's definitely needs to be some movement for you to get some draft capital and draft very well. I don't understand, like, you unable to do your job when you had Oklahoma City, had 17 first-round draft picks from trading what they were doing. Go hire his assistant because they're doing something right over there in OKC or even Houston, who's one of the top teams right now. Those type of people from those front office who learned how to turn around an organization and make the young kids that they draft come play together and run a system, have a good coach, literally a good organization to turn it around. That's who you hire to run your stuff.
Yeah,
stop hiring cronies.
But that's the other problem is, like, you hire Billy Donovan and it's like, yeah, he's probably going to be great with college kids.
Yeah.
But he's not going to work with Lonzo and DeMar and Levine, and because they're established veterans who have their own personalities, and like, this is, oh, who are you? You're some college coach? Like, whatever, dude. Like, and like, it's one of those where, like, what are we doing? Like,
yeah,
and
very much.
Billy Donovan, when he was hired, was like touted as like, well, this is a great signing and a great coach. And it's like, but look how it, like, it's, you literally look at like all the Chicago teams over the years, other than Phil Jackson and Mike Ditka, like, we haven't had a decent coach on any Chicago sports team for a while.
Oh, yeah. I think the last good coach was Quinville, but then you found out all the dirty stuff that was happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, Quinville, but like, even Madden, like, he won us a World Series, but then you look at like that World Series, the way he used his pitching and everything else, it was questionable.
Oh yeah,
it was questionable. Like, the way he was using Chapman and everything else, it was like we nearly lost that World Series.
It felt like he was like, I'm gonna keep making these wrong moves. Like, no, man, no, don't do that.
Yeah. So it's one of those where it's like, I feel like the Bears, the Benjohnson hire, especially with the team he's putting together, I think the Bears might have a coach. We'll see. We'll see. But it's like the Cubs, we went from Madden, then we went to who was the catcher?
David Ross.
Yeah. And it's like, what? A guy who's never coached before? Like, I don't get it. Like, huh? Okay, like maybe like all right, but it's like then it's like all right, he's too much of like friendly with the guys because he was on the team with the guys he's now coaching.
Yeah, it's a hard transition.
And don't get me wrong, like Chris Bryant and those guys, they weren't listening to the hitting coaches anyway.
No.
They thought that their swing was untouchable, and now we learn like, hey, pitchers learn, and they got spin rates, and they got different release points to counteract your uppercut home run swing. Guess what, buddy? It doesn't work anymore. And like I said, it's one of those where it's just like, I don't know. And you look at these teams nowadays, I basically just discussed, with the Luka Doncic and the AD trade, where it's like, I was discussing like, yeah, because the Mavericks think that, like Luka has all the talent in the world, but it's one of those where like he came in overweight. It's the Eddie Cheeseburger, the Eddie Lacy, where it's like, dude, you've been off for 3 months. How'd you put on 25 pounds?
Bro, but he's still scoring 30 points a night. Who cares? He's not hurt.
But
he's not hurt.
No, he's not hurt. But to me, it's one of those. The whole thing to me is now like, hey, guess what? You're 6'7". Go play basketball. You can make millions of dollars. But these guys don't love the game.
No,
they don't.
They don't.
They don't want to be at practice for like Kobe, getting there at like 4 a.m. and practicing till 9 p.m. They don't love the game like some of these players did in the 90s, where like, I mean, and to me, it's like you look at some of these guys now, it's just a means to their life. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I can make millions of dollars because I'm 6'7".
Yeah,
like they're
Joker. Joker's like I want to be with my horses. I don't care about practice. I don't care about preseason. And the next day after the championship, he's like, then what are you gonna do? I'm like, I'm gonna go back home and hang out with my horses. I don't care about this. He's like, you saw when they told him, hey, the parade is on Thursday following. He's like, oh God. He's like, I wanted to go home.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, oh my, I have to stay here another 2 days. Like, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, especially international players. Like if you love living overseas and whatever, like, hey, props to you. Like it's like Wemby, he's not from here. If he wants to go home in the off season, hey, props to you. But I think a lot of the problem is like there's just no love for the game anymore, especially in the NBA.
It's very much entitled, as you see with Jimmy Butler, that whole situation. Complete entitlement. I want to do whatever I want, and I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. But let's transition over to the Cubs and Sox. No major news there. I know the Cubs are trying to get Bregman. The Cubs are still one of the finalists. That's what they keep saying. They signed Nicky Lopez, who was formerly on the White Sox. There's really no other news.
There was a talk of Cease for the Cubs.
Oh, that's right.
Well,
San Diego's trying to. Yeah, San Diego does San Diego as usual, right? They load up for a couple years and then they sell all their pieces away, and essentially they don't want to pay Cease the big money that he's earned coming up, and they're trying to get something for him, which would be wild if he ends up on the Chicago Cubs. I'm more than happy that he does. I've always loved him as a player, and if he ends up on the Cubs, that Cubs pitching staff is going to be filthy. It's going to be a lot of fun on the north side to watch those guys pitch.
Yeah, it'll be hard to see like what we would have to give up to get them. Because like I said, I've seen a few rumors of
you get him. That's what you do. He's filthy.
Yeah, but they were talking about is a Shaw, our third base prospect who potentially will be our third baseman at the beginning of the season. That's one of the people they want.
Okay, bye.
Okay, but then who do you have starting at third?
You pick somebody up in free agency.
Yeah, well, that's easier said than done. But
you can go get
or at least a talented third baseman that's not up there in age and barely hanging on.
All you need is someone to cover the base right now while you get to the trade deadline. Right, you don't need much. You don't need much at third base, and you can put any utility man that you have. You can move any of those guys. You have a bunch of players that are multi-use guys. You can put somebody at third base. So, again, to me, if you can get a start,
we're going to put you at third base. But guess what? It's super easy to play third base.
It is super easy. Don't worry. The ball comes to you. You don't have to go to the ball. The ball comes to you. Just throw it to first base. Yeah, definitely. I'm not saying it's easy.
Don't worry. The shortstop is going to cover most of the field. So you just got to cover 10 feet.
Yeah. I think if you're trying to win games, you get some horses in your pitching staff. And yes, defense. But Nicky Lopez,
it's just what is the buying price? What do we have to give up? Because like I said, I saw Shaw's name as part of it, but that's part of it. What else do we have to give up? In order to get him, it's because it's probably going to be more than just Shaw. They
picked up Nicky Lopez. He can play third base.
Yeah, but it's one of those, like, we have such a log jam in the outfield. It's like, all right, well, hey, instead of taking Shaw, but you take some of our outfielders, huh?
Yeah, I think they have a similar issue out there, a log jam of outfielders making a bunch of money. So I don't know what's going on in San Diego. They've always been an interesting team where they do the same thing. Florida does the same thing. The Marlins, they'll load up for a year or two, contend, and then you sell the whole team. Like, I don't understand that type of business, but it is what it is.
Did you see the Sox player that came out today and said, I would rather have a season-ending or career-ending injury rather than play for them again in 2025?
I think that's fake. That's talking about Luis Robert. And right now, since he's not been traded, I really think that the White Sox are banking he has a bounce back season so that they can trade him at the deadline. They have to trade him. There's no purpose of wasting that talent, and there's no protection for him. So if he gets off to a hot start, you trade him immediately as far as you can. Or maybe there's an injury in spring training for a major team. I mean, you're saying
it's fake news.
I think it's fake news.
Okay.
When have you heard that, man?
It popped up in my Facebook, and
I know I saw it too. I was
like, whoa. I'm like, that is pretty harsh to say about the team you are currently on the roster for. Although I guess if Myles Garrett can write a letter saying, like, hey, I want to win a Super Bowl, and it's never going to happen here. Like, I mean, I guess somebody could talk trash about the Sox,
Yeah, Luis Robert's not really. He's not really talking. He's not a full-fledged in the language of English yet. So I don't see that happening. And if it was, it would have been like, translated by so and so.
I was gonna say, there's translators that can translate. This place sucks.
Yeah,
get me out.
Yeah.
Like, I've played in better places in the Dominican Republic with better players.
I 100% guarantee that. Yeah, definitely. Royal Rumble, before we get out of here, took place in Indianapolis this past weekend. Phenomenal show. I just rewatched the Royal Rumble when I got home. I watched the men's.
Me because I haven't seen it. I've seen I saw.
When's the last time you saw Royal Rumble?
I saw the YouTuber Speed get destroyed.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And then I saw, like, the Alexa Bliss is back.
Yep.
And did I see something about Nikki Bella was there?
Yeah. She showed up as one of the entrants for the females.
Yeah. But, like, other than that, like, I don't know who won the Rumbles. I don't know.
Yeah. So main event Jay, one of the twins, one of the Uso twins. Finally he's getting his flowers. He put in the hard work in the last 4 or 5 years during the storyline that's been going on. Now he's more into singles, and he eliminated John Cena for the chance to headline WrestleMania. So he's going to go against one of the champions, which is great. Again, wrestling, yes, I know it's fake, but I'm in it for the storylines, man. It's been a lot better. It's a lot of fun. Also, this is John Cena's last year before he retires. He's going to do one full year. So his next appearance will be the Elimination Chamber I believe in Toronto, in 4 weeks. So if he wins that, then he'll be
doing the specials, or is he doing like all the Monday nights and everything?
Well, he said he has to go to Hungary to film a movie for 4 weeks, and then he's going to do that pay-per-view. But I can almost guarantee that he's going to be, from that point on, more involved, because if he wins the elimination chamber, then you start a storyline with whoever he's going to go against, and you have to kind of be there. Also, I think he wants to hit like all the major markets, right? Chicago, New York, LA, Miami, Boston. I'm pretty sure he's going to go to those cities, but it is his farewell tour. So again, if stories have been great, wrestling has been a lot of fun. Since this is probably the most fun I've enjoyed watching it since the late '90s and the the DX and the whole Attitude Era. It's a lot of fun.
I was an Attitude Era guy with. I mean, I was the guy switching back and forth between Raw and
Nitro.
Warzone and Nitro. And like I said, I was the guy switching back and forth. Like, oh, they're on commercial, switch. Oh, they're on commercial, switch.
Yep.
Or it's like, oh, like Stone Cold's next, like, and you know what I mean, like, but like, because like I got into like the whole Sting like NWO kind of back in the day, because like I always loved like Sting was hanging out in the rafters, the whole
crow thing.
Yeah, the whole crow situation. I enjoyed that aspect of like, and he would come down and like knock some guys out with a bat, rip their NWO shirts, or like you're the good guy, the baby face, or whatever. But like I also loved the Stone Cold, Rock, McMahon, DX situation going on, where like the comedy of DX, where like, hey Steve, who are you? And then like he super kicks the guy in the hallway, and then just like continues down the hallway, super kicking everybody, or like they're in the
that was a great bit. Yeah, that was a great bit. We just everybody he's seen, didn't matter who it was, bam, super kick, kept walking, boom, super kick, and that was great. But I'm telling you right now, if you were one of those Attitude Era watchers, it has been literally, there was a 4-year storyline with the Bloodline, which is Roman Reigns being the champion. Then he had the Usos by his side, and he has Paul Heyman. And if you know who Paul Heyman is, that man can talk and sell you a car with 2 wheels on it and tell you it works. Like he's
but for whatever reasons, like especially with wrestling, like I always enjoyed like the comedic.
Okay.
No. Are you there? I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, you cut out for a second. Yeah. The comedic parts of wrestling. Yeah, I can see that.
I always like the comedic stuff. Like, so when you like the Rock and Mankind, the Rock and Sock connection. Like to me, I always thought that was hilarious. Like Kurt Angle when like he was playing like the dumb character.
The cowboy.
Where he had like a little top hat and like. Playing a ukulele or whatever. Like, I always like, and then you had like the ADA. Damn.
Yeah, the APA.
Like, I love that kind of the comedy aspect of like just having fun with it.
Yeah, I there is a lot like when R-Truth is there. He's probably been there for over 20 years at this point.
Yeah.
R-Truth, like last year in the Royal Rumble, he his music hits and he's running down the aisle and it's the Women's Royal Rumble and he gets there and he's looking around. He's like, what? He's like confused. That dude is so funny. Or
it's like the one where like they wanted to make Lesnar break, and he's like, and I'm ready to fight you, Paul Heyman. It's like, I'm not in the Royal Rumble. But like I said, like the Orange Cassidy's, the like that kind of stuff. Again, Mankind was one of my favorite wrestlers back in the day. Like I mean, everything Mick Foley did, it was just like must watch TV. Like, yeah, just car wrecks. And you're like, how is this man standing up? You know, like I didn't really care for the barbed wire. I didn't really care for the thumbtacks.
No.
But it was just one of those, like, you know, you get thrown off the top of the cage. Like even Shane McMahon matches.
Oh,
I would be like, yeah, it's like, oh, dude, like I'm one of the, like, I don't have a fear of heights, but I have a fear of falling. So like when you like you even like I have to get in a scissor lift at work and like do stuff at work, like that thing gets up into like 30-foot range, and then like I'm supposed to be harnessed in, and that thing starts wobbling back and forth, and it's no, thanks. I'll be safe down here on the ground. Thank you very much. I'm
for the guy that did the high ropes course in college. Okay.
But that's the thing is, like, I'm secured. Like, I trust my harness. Like, yeah, I loved rock climbing. I loved the high ropes course. But because I was clipped in, I was doing everything on the high ropes course, like with my harness, like I trusted it. Like, but like you put me on a ladder. No, I don't trust that ladder not to move and fall. No. Are you kidding me? Like, again, like those scissor lifts, like, dude, you put a quarter underneath the wheel, it can tip over. Like, no thanks. You know, like, especially like, you know, but like I said, it's one of those where, like, again, you watch those Shane McMahon matches where he would just jump off the Jumbotron, the Hardy Boys, like some of the, like the Swanton bombs, like off of stuff, like the top of a ladder. And it's just like, dude, you guys are nuts. Like, and I loved watching it, but at the same time, it's like, I know I can't do that. No thanks.
No thanks. No, I enjoy watching it. Maybe as a kid, everyone wants to become a professional wrestler until you understand the amount of pain that these guys are actually going through. You know, that ring is literally, it's, you know, it's pieces of wood with a thin piece of mat on it with a carpet on top. That is not something that a human body should be doing, right? But they condition their bodies to do that.
Well, that's the funny thing is, like, I always thought that there was like a 1-inch foam. Like, no. Like, again, like I always thought there was something, like, because I know, like, you see the ring bounce and everything, but I still thought that there would be like a 1-inch like foam or, you know, whatever for a little bit of protection. But yeah.
like the PE classes in the 90s. All right, kid, climb the rope. Don't worry, if you fall, there's that 1-inch mat that's gonna save you.
well, that's the thing is, like at Northeastern and at Maine South, when I went to Maine South, dude, I used to climb the rock climbing wall without a rope. You know, like I had no problem doing that. Like, because again, like I knew I was a good climber, you know, especially at Maine South. I'm actually, or I used to be, I don't know if I still am, but I used to be on their like timed rock climbing wall, you know, for traversing the wall and going up the wall.
Nice.
You know, for speed and time. I don't know, again, I don't know if I still am. But you know, I used to like, especially Maine South, they had some rock climbing stuff where it was like it simulated a crack, so you would have to like put your fingers in vertically and crimp your fingers to hold you rather than actually having like a handhold. So like I would climb it free, no rope, no harness, and I mean, again, it's like 30 feet up, you know, like even if I fell, like they had the gymnastics mats which were like, you know, what, 6-inch mats or whatever. So they were a little more cushioned than most, but again, I had no problem with that kind of stuff. But like I said, you put me up in a scissor lift, no thanks. like I'll go up on a roof, I'll whatever, but for whatever, like, it's while I'm on a ladder, I'm freaking out. Like, somebody better be at the bottom, like holding that thing, like making sure it's not shifting or, you know, whatever. Like, I don't know why. It's the fear of falling, not the fear of the height.
Yeah, I completely understand, because you're not in control. That's the biggest thing. You're not in control. Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think that's the fear is, like, in that moment, if the thing starts tipping, like, there's no control. It's like I could break my arm, break my leg, like I cannot stop this from me falling.
Yeah.
And yeah, that freaks me out. You know, it's like some people have an irrational fear of like falling through the grates on the street. You know, for whatever reason, and like they'll walk around the grate, you know, but yeah.
You never know. It is Chicago, it is old, it is rusted, so
yeah. But like I said, I mean, you watch some of those wrestling matches, and it's just like, dude, I don't know how you guys do this.
Yeah, there was the Cody versus Kevin Owens match. Cody, Alabama.
Yeah, I think I saw that where like Kevin Owens like went through the ladder.
He went through the ladder and it was like neck first, and then he ended up like getting cut up and whatever. But that's another personality superstar that he does whatever it takes for a match to be good. He puts his body in the line. He's a big boy. And I'm not saying big and like muscular. He's looks like a regular guy on the street. You know, he's got a beer belly. You know, he's just a regular dude that wrestles.
Like me.
You got a new hero. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I started my workout program like a week and a half ago. Started on my new diet and everything, and new year, new me. So
there you go.
But I feel great already. You know, like I don't know that I've lost weight yet, but in the way of like, because the first thing I did was I cut out all soda. I'm not drinking any soda at all anymore. So the carbonation has, like I said, because I was bloated from the carbonation, but already I'm 2 weeks in, and I can already like feel like with my clothes, like how much looser they are on me, because like I just stopped drinking soda and the carbonation. So it's like I said, I'm hoping this works out. I'm feeling great, and like I said, I'm gonna keep it up. It's a lifestyle change for me. So
I completely agree with you. I'm trying to do the same, especially now that I like my schedule is set, and I think I'm gonna use my last period, my 8th period, to go into the gym and either play with the students, play support with the students that are in those periods, or just go to the gym and do 30-45 minutes really quick, pumping some iron or do some cardio, whatever, just to mix it up, just to get the body moving. Because if you're I have to practice what I preach. I tell the kids, if you're not moving, it just causes more problems for the body, and it definitely does. So especially at our age.
I turn 39 tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where it's like I gotta get. I've neglected myself, and unfortunately, it's because of the job that I work. I work 2:30 to 11 p.m. So I used to get home and I'd eat dinner at 11:30 at night, and then I wasn't. Now I'm biking. After I get home from work, I bought a huge recumbent bike, so I'm biking at home. But like I said, it's one of those where you come home, you're stagnant, you eat at 11:30, you're not burning anything. So that's a whole nother thing, is like now I'm eating at 7 p.m. Like I went out to Aldi's, they had some like bento boxes. So now I'm meal prepping, and like I said, I'm eating at 7 p.m. No food after like 9 p.m. for me anymore. So that's another huge thing that's helping me. Like I said, I feel great. So
that's great. I'm really, really happy that you're changing your lifestyle. We want to keep you around for a long time, and we wish you a happy birthday. Obviously,
it'll be nice for me to look a little, less chubby, on camera. The camera adds about 20 pounds, so it'll be nice to shave off that 20 that the camera puts on.
Yeah, definitely. All right, JC, I think it's a good time to get out of here. Happy birthday. And I know before we get out of here, I had a couple of things that were on my agenda. I want to thank, where's my internet here? I wanted to thank a couple of people that actually purchased some gear from us. Long time.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, Lily and Marissa, both supporters of myself and the show for a very long time. They purchased like multiple items, not just one item. So they spent a pretty penny. Yeah, definitely. And then I wanted to share our condolences to the family of a friend and comedian who passed away this past week. I know we posted about it and it got pretty big. Ken Flores passed away this week. He was a rising star. He had started opening for Fluffy. He was, with hanging out with Brett Kreischer and Joy Coy and a bunch of the big names, and everyone had literally put their stamp on and say he's the next big guy. Could come out of here. He's a local guy out of Aurora, and he passed away of heart failure, I believe. So I just wanted to share our condolences to his family, his friends, and everybody who was really close to him. So I don't know if you can go see his comedy online. You can go see all of his clips. He's a pretty funny guy. So wanted to do that, and then we'll share JC with a happy birthday, and we'll get out of here. All right, y'all. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're watching, hit the subscribe button. If you're listening, leave us a 5-star review. It'll shoot us up on the charts. We really appreciate that. Thank you to our sponsor, 606 Media and True Chicago Sports. Check us out on social media. You can find us at TCSF Pod on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook, IG, Spotify, every social media under True Chicago Sports Fans. You have a topic you want to cover in sports or what you're watching or food for Stirring the Pot, True Chicago Sports Fans at gmail.com. All right, for the boys, especially for JC, happy birthday. And I'm Big Z. We'll see you next time for episode 234 for the love of sports.
Swish.